For me, it gets worse as I get older. Not to, oh, damn, should have said that. I'm sure it'll be different for you.
Totally,
Welcome to the Marinade, a free-flowing conversation about the creative process with creative people. Each episode, we welcome musicians, actors, comedians, authors, visual artists, filmmakers, anyone who creates art to talk about how and why we make stuff. This is episode 202, and our guest is Joelton Mayfield. Joelton is a singer and songwriter from small-town Central Texas who's now based in Nashville, Tennessee. Last year, Joelton toured with John Moreland, the Mountain Goats, Susto, Parker Millsap, and others. This year, he played with Steve Earle and went on to release one of my favorite records of the year. It's called Crowd Pleaser. It is absolutely outstanding, y'all. Joelton can flat write. This album covers a ton of emotional ground and leaves the listener thrilled and wanting more. This conversation was such a delight. It was months in the making, as you'll hear, and it is my pleasure to bring you my conversation with Joelton Mayfield.
The worst band that's ever been signed gets played on Spirit 105.1.
Good, how are you?
Good. Get Bucket Boy out of the way there. Be done in a few, Bubba. Yeah. Just gonna be a good boy. Dude,
Sorry.
thanks for...
Yeah, sorry I'm late. It made me download the app, which I didn't have.
Well, that's some bullshit. Well, thank you for giving away your private data for us.
Hey, you're welcome.
We really appreciate it. Dude, thanks for doing this. I'm really excited to talk with you. I have been, we're recording this on Tuesday. Your record comes out on Friday, and I've been just devouring it. And I'm really excited for folks to hear it. It's so fucking cool, man. It's such a good record and so interesting. And I'm excited to dive in about it, but just wanted to start out by saying congratulations for this
Thank you.
on this beautiful piece of work, man.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I'm for folks that are listening to this. This is a long time in the making. We were gonna catch up at Bonnaroo, and way back in June.
Yeah.
And the festival gods had other things in mind.
They sure did.
But dude, how you feeling? The record's coming out in just a few days. How are you feeling?
Good. I feel relieved to finally be kind of walking away from it. Or it finally being out. It doesn't feel totally real yet. I suspect it will on Friday. But yeah, I mean it's been a long time in the making, so excited to finally be putting it out.
Hell yeah. Well, it seems like there's a lot of really cool stuff that's been happening with you as well lately. I was just kind of like looking at press materials and just kind of thinking about things and I was just looking at the list of folks you've toured with
Yeah.
throughout your career, but it seems like especially lately. I mean, you did a run this summer with Steve Earle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been
like tell me about all of that. John Moreland, Steve Earle, Mountain Goats. Like these are all my favorite artists. So I'm just interested in like what that feels like for you.
Yeah, I mean, they're some of my favorite artists too. It's been crazy. Opening for Steve Earle was wild. I mean, he's a hero of mine. It's been I feel really lucky the last like couple years to have gotten these opportunities to open for people whose music I've been listening to for since I was a kid, and who've influenced the way that I think about songwriting and being a musician. I'm a huge Mountain Goats fan. I'm a huge Steve Earle fan. Opening those shows for John Moreland was like amazing. I'm a huge fan of his. Yeah, I got to open one show for Robert Earl Keen a couple years ago.
Oh wow.
That was really awesome as a Texan.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's been a really cool couple of years.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Leading up to this wonderful record too. Man, that's exciting. That's really, really exciting. Moreland's been on the show. I've gotten a chance to meet him a couple times and he couldn't have been cooler. And
Yeah, dude.
I met Steve Earle one time and he was so cool. I expected him to be like some stereotype of his reputation or something, and he couldn't have been more gracious and kind to me and
Yeah.
patient and just meet your heroes is like has been my experience with the Marinade, and those two guys are two of my biggest creative heroes, and they couldn't have been cooler. So
Yeah. Yeah, they're both awesome and super nice and so cool. Um my last couple shows in Tulsa, uh John and Pearl came out to the show.
mm,
Like bought me around, hung out the whole time, came early, stayed late. They're just such sweet people.
yeah.
Um and you never expect that from somebody you open for, you know.
Yeah, especially somebody who has such when someone has that kind of John's so good at what he does
Yeah.
that there's like a mystique around it almost. Like he's your favorite songwriter's favorite songwriter. And
Mhm.
so to have it demystified a little bit was really nice, but not so much that I get it because he's just still that good in my mind.
Yeah.
Um, he's still one of the greatest performers I've ever seen, and he just sits there and sings and tells a couple of stories. But
Mhm.
um, but yeah, and then Pearl's been on the show as well, and
Oh, awesome.
they both have been so kind to me and so sweet. So
Yeah.
for folks listening,
Same.
John Moreland's definitely somebody you can root for and
Yeah.
continue to support. Spend your money on him.
Yeah,
Same thing for
absolutely.
Pearl. Man, you've lived an interesting life, and I think there's some parallels, some things that I think I can relate to, and some things I want to dive into, and some things that come up on the record. One of the things that I find interesting about the record, Crowd Pleaser, that comes out by the time people will be hearing this, it will already be out. Um, you cover a lot of ground. It feels like to me, like you cover a lot of ground sonically, and you cover a lot of ground thematically. Um, can you talk about what it felt like to sort of manage all of that and sort of how you were able to cover so much ground both sonically and thematically while also keeping it so cohesive.
Yeah, I'll try. It so it this is my first album. This is my debut album, and so a lot of these songs have been around for quite some time, and six of them, to be exact, have been around since middle of college for me, and I'm 27 now,
Mm,
so that's a minute, and um, so six of the songs on the record are songs that I had the chance to test out at live shows and really figure out the arrangement for over and over again.
mm,
And those are the crowd pleasers, if you will, of my like college uh songwriting. And the other four songs were written mostly in 2020. We recorded the album mostly live in 2021. Um, and so the remaining four songs were kind of like, which are to name them, Jacob Dreamed a Staircase, Speechwriter, Mouth Breather, and Baltimore. Were all written in 2020, and those. I guess around the time I was about halfway through Jacob, I was like, I think I might have enough for like a full length record. And kind of on that tail end, I was thinking about lyrics I had already had in other songs, songs like Red Beam and songs like Blame, where there were these repeated lines, and worked those into some of those newer songs. And also just like looking at what I had made, like realizing you know, uh, it came from a common place of leaving faith and also like, um, just growing up, like coming of age, and um, I guess I kind of tied the bow on it um, over the course of those last like 4 songs. Um, so yeah, um, it was a oh, it's been a long process, and just getting uh, getting to Jacob and getting to speechwriter, it was kind of like I think I finally have enough, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So much I
It,
wanted to ask you about in all of that. So that idea of like having the songs, some of them being around for a while and working out the arrangements, having played them, like
mhm.
how are you conscious of that in the moment that you're playing, or are you reflecting later? Are you going based off of feedback you get from the crowd and from people you're playing with and that kind of thing? What does that look like process wise?
It looks a few different ways. Like with a song like Red Beam, like I was pretty dead set on having sort of a anxiety inducing, uh noisy into chaotic crescendos, like pretty drony, noisy song, because it came from a pretty anxious place. The narrator of that song is basically like having a panic attack at sunrise, um and it's fueled by spiritual trauma and things, and so that one I kind of came out of the box with having a more left field like approach to the arrangement. I wrote it on acoustic guitar. It was more of like a freewheeling esque thing, but when I took it to the band, I started playing it on piano, and like kind of came in with those notes, and that one really worked out pretty quickly. But with songs like Blame, where it's like so wordy, and there's so many words, and then there's like 6 verses, and um that one we had to like demo and play live, and just kind of see where we could take the dynamics down and back up again to make it hold your attention the whole time when you listen back.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that you have ideas coming out of the gate for, and then other things it's just like trial and error, figuring out what holds your attention, like because you want to be able to listen to it and enjoy it, have it stand the test of time. So um, in that way, uh, you the writer of the song are also the listener, and and
Mm-hmm.
and it's for you too. So, um, yeah, I'd say those are the main 2 ways it happens. Either I have like a really good uh idea at the beginning, or it's just a lot of trial and error.
Mm.
But
Anxiety and religious trauma are maybe the two most prevalent through lines in this show, and so you're in a good place.
cool.
Uh, and it's a constant. It's a constant for me, right? Those two
Yeah,
things that are, the anxiety is directly rooted in the religious trauma.
yeah.
Um, and I wonder what you do to kind of process that. I mean, when I was at your stage in life, um, I was, I know it's so crazy. I didn't, coincidentally, I was thinking about this today, um, about how much, oh, watch out, look at- let me have a look. Sorry. Okay.
That was awesome.
It's the cutest thing ever, but he's my little,
It's
my
like looking
little,
at you like, what?
my little sentient roadblock. Um, for folks just listening, the cord got wrapped around Bucket's paws, and he thought it was delightful. Thought it was party time. But When I was your age, processing all of that, I was reflecting on that exact period of my life today, and I was thinking about how I had no. I thought I knew what I was going to do with my life. I thought I was like, I'm hitting, that Saturn return, and I've got it figured. I didn't have that language at the time, but I'm thinking like, I know what I'm doing next, and I got it figured out, and yet there was all this unresolved trauma from the church that was coming out in ugly ways. And I was just medicating, dog. I was just drinking and like staying distracted and getting lost in women. Like that's how I was processing it, not in a healthy way. So I'm interested in sort of like where you're at and how that's going.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I drink too much.
Mm,
But
mm,
but yeah, it's come in waves like that. Uh, Meant something different in college, and kind of moving away from my hometown than it does now. And yeah, I mean, I've been in therapy since 2020, and
good.
that's helped a lot. Um, but kind of before then, and that year, like a lot of my processing of this did get channeled into songwriting,
Mm,
and I would say like a lot of what I'm writing now, um, it does still have like confessional elements and things like that, but the biblical references or the scripture references like it's more just because that's all still in there, and I love uh the turns of phrases you can get from repurposing like scripture that's kind of baked in your brain, and it's
mm.
less from an unpacking and deconstructing and uh uh this hurt me sort of place. And so yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I've gotten to the end of that journey um
Mhm.
at all. And it's all still in
Mhm.
there. um
I don't know that you ever will. I mean, at
yeah,
least like I don't think I ever will.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think that I will either. Just because I've walked away from it, like there still is the void, and there's still, there are other like ideologies that have like filled that space, but
Mhm.
also like
That's good.
um it's it makes you like a really growing up, it's like foundational. It's like, these are supposed to inform like all of your relationships. Like having this relationship with Jesus is supposed to be like the foundation of your platonic relationship and your romantic relationships, and like, you know, that's makes you pretty anxious because you're constantly like double checking everything, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're like, am I gonna go to hell? So
Yeah.
it's nice to not have that as my framework anymore, but the anxiety's still there.
It's still baked in.
So,
Yes, dude. Yes,
so
it's
yeah,
still baked in. I'll be 45 in
yeah,
December. It's still
yeah,
baked in. Like,
yeah,
and I left the church dec decades ago at this
yeah,
point, right? And really and have been in therapy since 2017.
yeah.
Um, but the fear of death persists, and for me, it gets worse as I get older. Not to put down, should have said that. I'm sure it'll be different for you. Um,
Totally, yeah.
you got a long road ahead, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's all it's all downhill. I no, I I do, because I get closer to the grave statistically.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that all of it being baked in, there's no I process it and I work on it, and I am hopeful that one day I'll come to a better place about it. But I'm not at a good place about it. I just do the best I can and try to stay grounded in the things that do connect me spiritually and fill that void. And music is the number one in a way that that doesn't feel like that all or nothing. You're going to heaven or you're going to hell,
Yeah.
and either way, it's eternity, and either way, it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, I try to do holding a cute dog helps.
Yeah.
Buckets
Yeah.
back in my lap, everybody. Trying to derail this as much as you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that that it'll ever. I can't see an end. I can't see like fully being like, oh, I'm good. I'm over my religious trauma.
Yeah.
I'm no longer terrified to die. I just don't
Yeah.
think that's ever gonna happen. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I doubt it for me too. Um, it it's I don't feel like calling myself an atheist or calling myself an agnostic is like I don't really want to still define myself by something that's like not part of my framework or how I'd like to live my life.
Yeah.
Um, but it's kind of fucked up that you it's still there, even when you've walked away from it. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't know.
Identity being wrapped up in spirituality like that when you're in the church as a kid, it is, especially since you don't have other cool shit yet.
Yeah,
Like you haven't done
yeah.
anything.
You don't even know who you are.
You
You
know
don't
who you
know how
are.
to handle
Yeah.
your emotions. Like you just know that you're scared. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so they become such a huge part of your identity so
yeah,
easily. And shame on the motherfuckers in those churches
yeah,
that exploit that and that, put that trauma on people.
yeah.
I have this whole thought, and I'm probably gonna upset some people with this. I don't think I've ever said it on the show, but and for folks listening, if you don't like what I'm about to say, I'm very open to feedback, and would love to hear people's thoughts on it because I think there should be a dialogue about kids being exposed to church. Um, I know how much trauma it's caused me. I know how much pain it continues to cause me, and I really work on some of the resentment that I feel toward my parents for putting me through it. Because I know that in their minds they were doing the right thing. They
Hmm.
thought that was the right thing, and they thought it would help me be well. For them, they thought it was literally my eternal salvation at stake. So I
Yeah.
understand why they did it. Um, but I just think we don't expose kids to drugs, or we try not to, right? We try not to let them take drugs. We try not to let them drink. We try not to let them be exposed to porn. Why do we let them be exposed to their eternal salvation when they're like fucking 8, you know, or 12? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question.
I'm not saying I want the government to get involved. I'm just saying like
No, yeah.
I'm just saying I think there's a conversation to be had, and I've had it with friends before. No one's been receptive yet, but with Christian friends who do have their who do like do Bible study with their kids and stuff like that, or take them to church, and I'm like, you don't understand what you're potentially doing to this kid. It's not my place to tell you what to do. I'm just saying what I experienced. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, because I know there are some people that it doesn't do what it did to us, but
yeah,
um, it did what it did to me.
yeah. It's I think it may be for a certain personality type, or some people may need to be scared that they're going to hell to have empathy for other people.
Mm-mm.
However you want to diagnose it, but also like um the people who are like proselytizing to you and like the people in like uh in authority in the church and things like that, like they are also telling you, there's this meta level of it, is they're telling you that you're going to hell so that they don't go to hell for not telling people that they're going to hell, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It
yeah,
sounds so ridiculous when
it
you
is-
say it like that, but
it is
that is
everyone-
the
yeah.
equation.
It's like I guess you're just doing the best you can because you
Yeah.
really believe this. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of tough.
Yeah. And it's hard not to judge too, because like that's
Yeah.
one of the things that I struggle with too, is like
Yeah.
I have friends who are Christians and they're some of the best people I know.
Yeah.
And it's, I have to like go, oh, remember the person and not your own trauma that you're projecting onto the person.
Yeah.
Is a really challenging thing sometimes. And sometimes it takes me time, when I get to know
Yeah.
somebody, because my first reaction when it comes out that someone's a Christian, I'm like, oh, well, that person's racist, which isn't accurate all the time. It's just like,
Yeah. I think when you have a negative experience with the church, it's pretty easy to. I have a couple friends who are Christian that I am close to, and other friends who are Christian that I'm not close to. But the majority of my friends aren't either of those. Or don't fall in either of those categories because they aren't Christian. But
yeah.
it is. I do catch myself sometimes. Uh, being an asshole, judging immediately the type of person that when I hear that somebody's a Christian, and it's like we're all on our own journey. Like you do, you man is how I feel for the most part for like adults. But it's like why?
Well, as long as you're not harming somebody else. And I guess I've
Yeah.
just seen so many examples of, I'm sure you have too, so many examples and we see it in politics. Like it's so prevalent in politics right now, but using religion to harm other people.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, like,
and as an excuse to harm other people and be a dick.
yeah,
Well, all right, that's enough preaching to the choir for a moment.
yeah.
I think, the, I, I mentioned the sort of the sonic breadth and depth of the record, but also there's just some fantastic writing here, man.
Thanks, man.
Like and Pretty Linda, and if I butcher this line, tell me, but the gist of it is she beat cancer 2 years ago, but she's been dead since 30. Is that the lyric?
Yeah, the couplet is she's beat cancer 3 times already, so she's been dead since she turned 30.
That's it. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's even better than my bastardized version. It's way better than my bastardized version of it.
That song's kind of, I mean, to tie this all together, that song's kind of about a pretty a character that went to church in the church that my parents took me to in my childhood church, that just kind of was I was like amazed by they always have like the prayer requests and praise report section on like Wednesday night Bible study, and most of the time I was in with the adults because they needed me to be in the church band. And it was my kind of first introduction to like, oh, you can beat cancer, because every other week it was like, I'm cancer free, or my numbers have risen, or whatever. And then that was just like my whole childhood was like experiencing like her battle with cancer was like the first time I was like aware of that. So that but Pretty Linda is mostly like a song about no one in particular. It's flash fiction kind of compilation of a few different people I know. My grandma worked at Walmart, and most of my childhood before she retired, and yeah, just that small town posture of the wild character towards the wild characters, I guess.
That's one of the great gifts of the small town life, right? Is the characters,
Yeah,
is the Pretty Lindas of the world,
yeah,
the grandmas that work at Walmart, until they retire. And mine was
Yeah.
Fruit of the Loom. That was my
Nice.
grandmama. She's my
Nice.
hero. She's still with us. She's in her 90s.
Hell yeah.
And I've written at least 2 songs about her, and I feel like half
Nice.
of my songs are some way about my grandmama because she is such a badass and such a hero, you know.
Yeah.
That one really stood out to me. There's a lot of kind of family stuff in there too that stood out to me, like that the lyric about your dad in the back of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that? Like it really struck me in a lot of ways, and I felt like I could relate to it.
Yeah. I mean, I got daddy issues. I think that's pretty apparent from quite a few of my songs. Um, the lyric is, "There's a man who looks exactly like my father standing in the back of every room," and which I guess was just sort of my way of um saying that I feel uh the desire to have my dad's approval, and even though like he's someone I don't see eye to eye with on like really anything, um and but I am constantly looking for that in like every interaction I have, and that was like a very literal way of putting it in a physical space, but also like that was that verse is basically just a story from my childhood and into my adulthood. Um, my parents are very supportive. There were instruments all around the house. Like my grandmother played everything.
Mm.
Um, my dad played bass in the church band, but also like early on in my uh relationship with music, like all that was ever encouraged was music about God, CCM music of like the late 90s and early 2000s with this very like cranked vocal and like super like saccharine sounding, uh, you know, all your delay pedals and stuff. But and then also Southern gospel. Like my first concert I went to was that I remember is the Gaither vocal or Gaither family reunion in Dallas, and like in Dallas, Texas in like 2004, 2005. I have a distinct memory of that. And um, it's, it, uh, at the same time as being very supportive of music, there was also kind of this push towards only certain kinds of music, and like, you ought to do this at church, or you ought to do this at the cover gig at the coffee shop, or you ought to do this at the whatever. So like controlling my creativity, um as like the extended metaphor, I guess, in that verse of
Mm.
just feeling controlled uh in my every action from the daddy issues. um so I would explain that.
Okay, I feel like I'm relating even more than I thought I might relate with you. Um, the because my father will, and similar. I mean, not with music, but just as far as like my parents were supportive of pretty much anything I wanted to do. It's just that they definitely steered me in certain directions.
Hmm.
Um, and so music wasn't, none of my family's musical. I'm the first person to ever really play anything, ever perform anything like that. As far as I can tell, like generations back, which is
Yeah.
weird because we're all from Kentucky and I don't get it. But anyway, um, the, they were supportive of like, I was obsessed with baseball. So like always going, taking me to the, and I know you're a baseball guy too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like taking me to like the, all the travel team games and signing me up for all the camps. And if I needed a new glove, they'd get me as nice a one as they could afford and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, right? Like I definitely felt very supported of my passions when it came to that. Music just
Hmm.
wasn't encouraged. It's not like I think if I'd shown any real propensity as a young person, they probably would have done their best to be supportive there too. But
Yeah.
on that approval thing, like my father has to give advice. Like when you said you oughta, I
Yeah.
just kept like hearing my father, like he has to give advice. It doesn't matter what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could be like, man, I'm a little tired, and he'll be like, Well, you know, son, if you eat right and sleep well and make sure you get a little bit of cod liver oil, you'll not be
Yeah,
as tired. You know, it doesn't matter what
yeah,
I just needed to tell you that I'm tired because I needed to vent that.
yeah,
I'm actually not looking for advice. I know what I need to do to get
yeah,
not tired. I understand the mechanics of that.
yeah.
And so I wonder if that's a similar thing that you were dealing with.
Oh, absolutely. It is. It is constant, even with um, I've stopped talking about uh, like things going on in uh, where I'm at with music stuff these days. Because he'll like want to get involved on uh not want to get involved, like he won't involve himself, but he'll like try to give me like legal advice or um he assumes that he knows things about like publishing or mastering or like and he doesn't,
Yeah.
he's very good at the things that he does know about. He's a great uh carpenter and contractor and electrician and just general contractor. Uh, but yeah, the constant need to give advice instead of just like empathize
Hmm.
is yeah, my whole upbringing and still to this day uh a thing.
It's good you recognize it. It took me a long time to recognize that it was happening and that it was such an issue. And now I'm really good about just saying, like, I'll stop him and say, I don't want your advice. Like, please, like, stop what you're doing. I don't want your advice. And it doesn't stop him. He's still doing it,
Yeah,
but at least I've expressed, you know, how I feel about it.
yeah,
And so that at least makes me feel better instead of just continuing to take it. Cause the same thing is true, despite the fact that I have no desire to be anything like my father, who I love, but my
hmm,
life is completely different. I've chosen a different path. I'm, I'm pleased with the path that I've chosen, and I'm glad I'm not on the same path as my father. Um,
yeah,
I still, yeah, of course, I still want his approval,
hmm,
right? Like I want him to look at me and get it, you know, and understand what I'm doing with my life. And
yeah,
so, you know, it took me a long time to get to a place where I was like, I, I don't. Not only do I not want to hear your advice, but like, I'm going to limit your access to me if you continue to treat me in such a way,
yeah,
with varied results, right? It's never gonna be perfect. Because my dad, again, love my dad. He's a very stubborn man. And
yeah,
so, you know, but I'm still gonna, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm still going to seek that approval. And so I have to guard my heart, you know, and guard myself a little bit and just not give him as much access as I probably did 15 or 20 years ago, you know?
yeah. I'm in a pretty similar boat, which I mean, it's taken like years of therapy and a few books to get to the bottom of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I there, without going down this path too far, like there were uh, things I saw and things that happened in my childhood that kind of made me aware that like maybe this isn't the best role model earlier on, and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of uh like when I was significantly younger. So I think I got started on that journey pretty soon. So that is a bittersweet thing that I think I'm kind of grateful for. Otherwise, I would still put too much stock into it. But both of my parents are very supportive people and of really anything I was passionate about. I played baseball for 8 years too, or 7 years. And they were there at every game. They were, similar, very similar story, and they also like most of my childhood would, uh, buy me like the nicest guitar they could afford.
Mm-hmm.
every few Christmases, you know,
Cool.
for a bit there, and so yeah, it's I'm very close to my mom. Um, she gets me and gets it
Good.
on a very deep level, so I'm really grateful for that. She's the best, and I love my dad a lot, and I see where he's coming from and how much further he's uh gone and than his parents did.
Mm.
But also, both my parents are like 20 years older than everybody else's parents my age.
Mm.
And I'm an only child, and so they, of course, are pretty. It took a long time to have a child, and they tried really hard to have a child, and I'm their only child, so they that like 90s helicopter parent thing is kind of in you know super mode um for me, but if
So
like a little bit.
yeah. All right. So I am my parents' only child,
Yeah.
and I thought we might end up here. I was my parents' only child, and my father had a vasectomy reversal. I was born in 1980, so he had a vasectomy reversal at a time when it wasn't as common as it is now. Even now, it's not a guarantee,
Yeah.
but it was like not all that common back then. The doctor who performed it was his first vasectomy reversal, and so there was this narrative growing up for me of being like this special chosen miracle kind of baby, right? Like I wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to happen. And of course I didn't process that as a kid as being a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
but into adulthood I realized how much pressure that was.
Yeah.
Do you feel something similar? And then also
Definitely.
like what have you done to process it? Like how do you deal with it?
Um, yeah, I mean, I was referred to as a miracle baby my whole childhood. It got into like the numerology Christian thing where like I was like
Mm,
the seventh try after like X amount of like miscarriages, like uh and pregnancy complications and in vitro fertilization attempts. I was
mm,
the seventh grandchild
mm.
on the seventh try on the like all that stuff, and
Yeah.
which I don't want to invalidate anybody in that camp of my family that feels um that that's
Mm-hmm.
a bit silly to me, but a lot of people who love me a lot worked hard for me to even get here, and I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
for that. I'm not going to piss that away. um
Mm-hmm.
but on the how do I deal with it level, I didn't ask to get here. and um
Yup.
and I have to remind myself, like I have to remind myself that sometimes when I am feeling that pressure, that
Mm-hmm.
and I also, I live with a depression that follows me
Mm-hmm.
around, and tremendous amount of anxiety too, so it's like, yeah, of course I don't want to be around sometimes, which is also something therapy helps with. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's it's a journey. You're almost you're like an idol of sorts, or like this you're like sort of an object that is um that encapsulates all of these hopes and all of these pressures and all of these things that maybe they wanted from their lives and didn't get, or didn't have the footing to get economically, or didn't, it's a there's pressure from every angle, but I, you know, just have to do the best you can and hope that
Yeah,
that's
there's also like I know
enough.
for me there was a lot of like I had to work through a lot of ego too, just because my mom was so obsessed with me. And so, so I had to
Yeah.
like, when you're out in the world, you're not mommy's special boy anymore, and you have to sort of,
Yeah, it sucks.
yeah, yeah. You have to like prove yourself to people and show up, and like
Yeah.
you can do wrong in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a whole thing. That's another thing that I don't think I'll ever fully process, but I work really hard on.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so did you lightening things up a little bit? Did you you played ball? Did you follow Major League Baseball? Do you still follow Major League Baseball?
Yes, and
Okay.
yes. I was
Uh,
sad to see the Mariners lose last night.
yeah, bummer, man.
Yeah.
Who do you follow? Like, who's your team?
I mean, I know I just said the thing about the Mariners, and we're supposed to be like, um, enemies or whatever. But I'm an Astros fan,
Okay, right
which
on.
a lot of people have a lot of things to say about.
Hmm.
Um,
I have that's a whole other podcast because I have some
yeah,
things and I'm actually kind of an Astros apologist. Whole nother conversation.
yeah. I I am as well, obviously, but
Hmm.
also like I want to be clear for anyone who's an Astros hater. Like I grew up going to Minute Maid Park. My uncle lived in Houston my whole childhood, so every summer I would go to Minute Maid Park. I grew up on the Killer Bees era of
Mm-hmm.
Astros baseball. Like I'm saddened by what happened, and the fact that it is something that won't be able to be moved past for a very long time, and that's deserved.
Hmm.
But yeah, I that's my team because it's the team of my childhood. I love the
Yeah.
Astros.
No, yeah, I'm a Reds fan for,
Yeah,
similar reasons.
yeah,
But okay, so my favorite thing to ask then, this is a show about creativity and the creative
yeah.
process. So my favorite thing to ask fellow baseball fans is who are the most creative baseball players in your mind? Maybe it's folks you grew up watching, maybe it's somebody now, maybe it's somebody from history.
Yeah. I think uh, to think of an example that's not from the Astros, like I feel like um, Kyle Riley is a really good example
Mm.
of a player who, um, who he like kind of came into his real stride this year. Obviously, hitting like 60 plus home runs, and he's a switch hitter, and that's never been uh, done by a switch hitting catcher ever. And also, uh, in like his third or fourth game into the playoffs was the only time all year that he had a passed ball.
That's
Um,
wild. That's a
which
wild
is
stat.
crazy. 162 games, not a single passed ball. Um, so I was really rooting for him and the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Um, and also one of my best friends is a Mariners fan, so we have this headbutting relationship when it comes to baseball. It's
Yeah.
pretty fun. But as far as like an Astro player, um, I gotta say Jose Altuve, which I know he's the most booed, because he hit that home run and
Yeah.
the whole cheating scandal. But um, I don't think you can deny home field or away field. Outside of getting tipped and inside of getting tipped, that he's a extremely like creative hitter.
Hmm.
Like he is a prime example of somebody who is able to identify a pitch and its location and push it uh, wherever he sees a hole. If it's up and away, he's pushing it to the right side of the infield. If it's uh, it's just really really fun to watch him hit, and he gets so many infield hits,
Mm.
and he's the shortest player in all of baseball, and he has like a crazy OPS and like can really
Yeah.
smack the crap out of the ball and
Yeah.
just get on base,
Yeah.
and it's with dinky hits too. So it's pretty. I love watching him play.
I love that answer. And whether you got tipped or not, you still got to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So
Yeah. Yeah.
That's been my whole argument. Again, could be a whole nother podcast. My whole
Yeah.
argument with that whole thing is like you still got to hit the ball, and
Yeah.
everybody still signs. I know it was a little different with them. I get it, but
Yeah.
anyway, not to bore the people who don't love baseball, we'll leave it there with the baseball thing. But
Yeah.
we usually kind of wrap things up with what you're getting down on. So that's the art that has you inspired at the moment. It could be music you've been listening to, a book you've been reading, like a painting you saw. I don't know.
Yeah. I got sent this record by my friend a couple days ago, which this is kind of off the wall, but this Irma Thomas record, Wish Someone Would Care, which is from '64. She had like a crazy run of singles in the '60s, and is from Louisiana, great like R&B and soul artist, and it made me think of this record I was really into in 2020. Barbara Lynn has this song called "You'll Lose a Good Thing," and the that's the title track of this record. And she was this lefty. I'm a nerd about this crap, but
Oh yeah.
she was this lefty lefty guitarist in the '60s, who is from Beaumont, Texas. And I really love that record, "You'll Lose a Good Thing." So I've been listening to those a lot, just this week. But yeah, I'm trying to get back on my reading grind. I was an English major, but when I had large swaths of unstructured time in 2020, I was reading a lot of books. But I've really fallen off recently. But I'm kind of finding my way back with poetry because you can pick it up and put it down.
Yeah.
And it's pretty directly inspiring. But yeah, I've been listening to those two records. I'd recommend those.
Very cool. I like a good short story compilation for that reason too. Like, I don't feel like I have to,
Yeah.
you don't have to be invested for a month, right?
Yeah.
You can just sort of read a story, put it down, let it put you to bed. Then,
Yeah.
and if I don't finish it, I don't feel like I've lost anything. I mean, I'm also not afraid to put a book down if I'm not feeling it, but most of the time I power through just because I love to read. And so even if it's not a book that totally has my attention, unless it's, I don't know, sometimes if it's like a nonfiction book that's a little wonky, if I'm reading something political that's a little wonky and it's 500 pages, I might give up after page 300 if I'm not really invested,
Yeah.
because I just need like a wizard or some shit.
Yeah.
Like I need like a wizard quest.
Yeah.
After all this heavy talk about fascism.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes you just need a wizard quest.
sometimes you need a wizard quest, and yeah, and I try to keep that balance. A little wizard quest, little anti-fascist,
Yeah.
little anti-fascist prose. I don't know, just whatever I might need in the moment.
It's a perfect binary.
Yeah.
To ride scales on that spectrum.
Yeah. Well, dude, what a pleasure. I'm so glad. I wish we would have got to catch up at Bonnaroo, but I'm kind of glad we caught up this way because I got to spend a lot more time with Crowd Pleaser. By the time this is released, the record will be out. I'll definitely be pushing it on my socials coming up. And we'll be pushing it on our Life's Greatest Hits with my buddy Jordan Foley, who says hello, by the
awesome.
way. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah. He said the same about you. He had such kind things to say about you.
Yeah.
Did you guys play together? Did you have like?
Yeah, he's super kind. We played together in Atlanta, Georgia, a couple years back. And I met him there, and he came out to the John Moreland show that I played here in Nashville.
Oh, right on. Yeah, that's right.
He opened some shows for John I saw too recently in Florida. So yeah. He's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's one of my best friends. He lives like I just officiated his wedding last weekend.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, not this past weekend before. So he lives like one block that direction. So sweet. So we talk pretty much every day, and we have a show called Life's Greatest Hits together, and so we always do. He puts it out, and I contribute to it, but New Music Friday. So we'll definitely be like doing our best to promote the record because It's outstanding, man. Great
Thank
job.
you so much.
Yeah,
you.
thank you. And thank you for such a thoughtful conversation. Thank you for being so open.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Went deep.
Tell Jordan I said hello and also congrats on the marriage.
Yeah, will do.
Yeah,
Will do.
yeah. But yeah, thanks so much, man.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
All right, bud. See ya.
See ya.
Joelton Mayfield, y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you all for listening. JoeltonMayfield.com for all things Joelton Mayfield. Crowd Pleaser, y'all, is just such an incredible record. I highly, highly recommend it. Turpentine, you know the one, is the song you're hearing in this episode. I can't say enough about the album. Just go get it. Get yourself a copy. Spread the word. MarinadePodcast.com for all things The Marinade. Follow us on all the socials, y'all. We have so much going on right now. I am in the midst of making a record of my tunes. If you can help, I would really appreciate it. If I can get $1 from everybody who pays attention to the work that I do, just Venmo or PayPal at The Marinade, it would make an enormous difference. And making a record ain't cheap. I appreciate everybody who listens to the show and spreads the word. And if you're with me on this one other thing too, come on with it. It's going to be fun. Yeah, we have been kind of pushing the recording process back a little bit. I'm scheduled to go in the studio now on the weekend of the 28th of November. I'm recording this outro on November 16th. And so if you can swing it, that would be great. Just anything that makes a big difference. Subscribe and give us a 5-star rating on your podcast app. That's free. You could do that. Also, tell a friend about the show. Follow us on all the socials, y'all. We're on everything. And I try to be as active as possible on everything. If we're not on something, if I'm not active on some social media platform you prefer, please don't hesitate to send me a message. You can email us through the website, marinadepodcast.com, and I will hop on that. I think I'm on everything everybody's on, but if there's some platform that you prefer to communicate through, holler at me. I'll do it. All these are free things, y'all. It makes a big difference for us. We're at 202 feature episodes. Unbelievable that we've been doing it this long, and honestly, I'm just ramping it up at this point. There's so many cool things, and the need for community and the need for creating stuff is so great. Follow Life's Greatest Hits also on all the things, Instagram, Twitter. We're on Twitter. We're on Blue Sky, so you can get updates on that show. That's my podcast with my dear friend Jordan Foley, where we really celebrate vinyl and music, and then of course, Jordan's one of my best friends, so we talk about life quite a bit. So follow us there, y'all. We the next one we're gonna do is the Ben Nichols solo record that came out this year. So check it out. If you really like what we're doing with this Marinade thing, I know I just asked you for money. I'm going to ask you for more. Please consider joining our Patreon community. Just $2 a month or more. If you can swing more, you can gain access to Patreon exclusive content like our show Jason's Journey, where I talk about the moments that shape my creative life and provide a window into the process of making the Marinade. You can try a free trial. Just try it. If you don't like it, no pressure. If you like it, stick around, and we do some fun stuff over there. I was just talking to Jordan about his Patreon, and it's such a beautiful way to connect with people. I just made a new Jason's Journey this morning that I'm about to post, and it's cool because the folks that are there are there to really interact with the show, and interact with me, and I really appreciate it. Not that I don't greatly appreciate every other interaction, because I certainly do, but if you're choosing to financially support this thing and go all the way over to another platform to interact, that means the world to me. I was just reflecting. I'm in my feelings for sure today. This is the 16th. I was reflecting on my episode with Todd Snyder. Hopefully by now you've heard the news. I don't want to break this news to anybody. I did that yesterday with a friend, and I felt bad about it. I don't feel like it's my story to tell, but Todd Snyder passed away, the great troubadour himself. He was one of my dream guests when I started this thing, and his people reached out to me when he was making the first Agnostic Church of Hope and Wonder record. I couldn't believe it when it happened, and then I couldn't believe it when it actually came to fruition. And I went back and listened to most of it yesterday. I started getting a little emotional while I was listening. I was crying a little bit, and I needed to turn it off because I've just was purging a lot of stuff this time of year. I do this time of year anyway, and it's such a rough stretch for me. October, November, but especially November, it's just a rough stretch. A lot of anniversaries of things that have gone away, relationships and so forth, and it's hard. It's a hard time for me. So losing Todd, even though I did not know Todd, it's not like I had his number or something, but I spent an hour and a half with him, and I spent countless hours with his music over the years. So, it's just really, really tough to process, all of that. And, I'm not good with loss either. So, I can't overstate though how much Todd's approach to life impacted me, in terms of like the lens through which he viewed the world and existence. He had his own anxieties about death and existence that he opened up to me about, and he wrote about those things so beautifully, but also in such a quirky way, unrelated to any norms that I think we have for songwriters and writers in general. And him not being in this world is not surprising. I mean, certainly the news around his health for the last few years kind of felt like this was inevitable, but that doesn't make it easier. And I was saying on the Patreon thing that I posted I recorded, I'm going to post, that quote unquote celebrity deaths, like to me, he was as big a celebrity as it gets, really impact me because the celebrities that I love are people whose work I consume fervently, and have, in his case, since probably I would say not late 90s, early 2000s at the latest. Well over 20 years of listening to this man's music, and him being one of my favorite songwriters of all time. So I'm grateful that I got to sit down with him, and I'm grateful that in the moment, even though I have to admit I was a little starstruck at first, that he made me feel so comfortable, and that we were able to get through any layer of surfaceness very fast. And so rest in peace, Todd Snyder. Thank y'all so much. Until next time, go out and create something. Cheers.